E3?
E3.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was drafted, yes.
Where were you living at the time?
In Hartford. Actually, West Hartford, really. Right on the border of Hartford, West Hartford.
Do you remember the date you were drafted?
April, I think was like 16th, 1962.
Do you recall?
April 12th.
Do you recall your first days in service?
First day was fun. I know just about what coming in a service because in Hungary, I am from Hungary originally. I took place in the revolution, the 1956 revolution. I was one of the guys that you guys celebrated over here at that time. But so I know about just about what's happening in the service because we went through training over there too. After I went to trade school, they'd be like a little army, you know. They train you, so I kind of know what's coming up.
Do you recall those first days in basic training?
I enjoyed it. I really did.
Where did you go for boot camp?
Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Do you remember your instructors?
Sergeant Mendez. Never forget it.
Can you tell me a little bit about him?
He was actually was a Portuguese guy from New Bedford area, Massachusetts. He was like how should I say, a decent guy. He was not tough, but in order for you to go in a military, you gotta be pretty strong. Matter of fact, I was in very, very good shape all my life. And when I get to Korea, see, I might jump a little bit too fast for you, but,
It's okay.
but to explain what I'm trying to say is, I thought I was in the best shape in my life, okay? When I get to Korea, those guys proved me so bad. I was so bad in shape. And I was probably the top shape in the Army. Compared to the Koreans.
Really?
Very, very lousy shape. We were.
And that was even after you went through basic
After
training?
I went through 8 weeks, actually 16 weeks, because I went through AIT training, Advanced Infantry training too.
Was that also at Fort Dix?
Also in Fort Dix.
So the first 16 weeks were at Fort Dix?
First 16 weeks was in Fort Dix. I was supposed to go to Germany. Originally, my orders was changed after I go back, because I went home for leave before I went to overseas. Then I went back. He said, "Oh boy, you gotta go to you gotta go to 8 more weeks of AIT training." I said, "For what?" He said, "You're gonna go to Korea." I said, "Oh, come on." Then I ran into one of the cooks. He's also a Hungarian. He was drafted before. He just came back from Korea. But he'd been in the service for about 8 years. So he'd been in Germany and he'd been in Korea also. He said, "I've been in Germany, Nick." He said, "Don't even worry. Don't even want to go there compared to Korea. Korea's much better." I said, "You gotta be out of your mind." Now, he was not on the border. He was down in Seoul, about like 52 miles away. You know, he was in a hospital, cook in a hospital. I said, "Well, that's a different story." Now we have tough times in Korea.
Now, the advanced infantry training, what did they teach you in that?
They teach you from light weapons to heavy weapons. APCs, like armored personal carrier. You have to be able to operate any kind of equipment up to the APC. That means 3.5 rocket launchers, light weapons. Then I was instructing Russian weapons also, because I know all the Russian weapons at the time. I still do a little bit, but I was instructing Russian weapons. So we went through pretty good training. But like I say, it was not tough enough. Not tough enough. A lot of people cry, "Oh, this tough." I said, "No, it's not tough. It's, you know, come to find out, you could use a lot more training."
After the advanced infantry training, did you go home on leave before shipping out to?
Yes, I went home for leave again. Then we were shipped out to Oakland, California.
And
And
from Oakland, where?
And from Oakland, we went to Yokohama, Japan. We're traveling pretty good. So anyway, we stayed in Oakland for about a week and a half. It was like we got there on a Labor Day. And about a week and a half, well, at least we saw something about, you know, San Francisco, Oakland, so on, Alcatraz. We had a good time in Oakland. And then we got to Japan about a week and a half later. I like Japan. I mean, we stayed there for like a couple of weeks. A little orientation. What's the Far East supposed to be? What we going to expect about the Far East? So it was real good.
Did you have time to do any sightseeing while you were in Japan?
Yes, I did. I went to Tokyo. That's still quite a ways away. But I had a little, matter of fact, I met a lot of people. At that time, it was a little different than now. But, you know, this is like 40-some years later. But nice people. It's just like any other country. I've been in 18 different countries. I traveled 18 countries, and believe me, people are the same. Politicians are different.
From Japan, then, you went to Korea?
Then I shipped to Korea.
Do you remember arriving in Korea and what it was like?
Yes, I do.
Well, tell me about that.
That was a lot of fun. I mean, you know, we got to, well, we landed in Busan, I believe. Incheon. Busan. And we get shipped up to Camp Casey. And it was like a bunch of barracks all over the place, you know, like tents and huts and all the things. Outside kitchen. I mean, you gotta go outside to get in a line. But it was fun. I mean, it really was. It was really like fun to me. A lot of other guys was crying that I left my mother. I said, wait a minute, kids, you know, 18, 19-year-old kids, they joined the Army. They never left home. I mean, of course, I'm a little different. I've been on my own since I was 14 years old. So I was kind of growing up. 24 years old when I got drafted. So I already traveled a few countries at that time. So I know a little more about it than some of those kids. So I kind of got what I expected, mostly.
So there were no surprises for you?
Not that much. Not that much. Culture was a little different. The culture was a little different. But, you know, you do what the Romans do. You know? You do what the Romans do, that's all. Whatever you go to Paris, you're going to do what people do in Paris. You're going to go to China, you're going to do what they're going to do. I went to Brazil. I mean, it's a gorgeous country. I mean, if you have a chance, go. Rio, São Paulo, Santos, you know, those, it's gorgeous places.
Did you do all your traveling when you were in the service or later as a civilian?
No. I did it before and after, and doing.
When you arrived in Korea, what was your job assignment?
Infantryman. Right away.
So what,
Border guard.
water?
Border guard. Right was the North Korean border.
So you were, when you got there, they put you right on the border, right?
About 3-4 days later,
So what would
was
your
shipped
duty
out.
be as an infantry?
Border guard.
So what would you do in a typical day?
Guard duties. Loafing around or cleaning the barracks. We had it made, I mean, believe me, in a way. Because we have like houseboys. We don't have to clean our clothes, shine our shoes or boots or nothing. They take care of it. You pay them like a couple dollars a month. And they take care of everything. But then I was lucky. Out of 3,500 guys, I was the only electrician in a base.
Oh.
So I was like King Kong. I did what I want to do. You know what I mean?
So even though you were an electrician, they had you doing guard duty and
Correct,
electrical?
correct. But now, after that, I get it made even better.
Why is
I
that?
was in a soccer team for the 7th Division
In Korea?
in Korea.
So in your free
And-
time, did you play sports? Is that?
I went to TDY for 6 months.
TDY?
That's, you do nothing but play soccer and train. And the lucky thing was that General Murdoch, his helicopter pilot, yes, his helicopter pilot was our goalie. And we did what we want to do, anything. 24-hour pass in your pocket, no guard duty, no scrubbing, nothing. I mean, you just
So
train.
How long were you on the soccer team? Did you get on the soccer team right away?
I was the highest goal scorer. Are you kidding me? This is what I'm sorry. I had so much. I wonder if we can get back to the archives, to the Stars and Stripes. I'd like to get my records out of there.
Your soccer record?
Yes.
It was in the Stars and Stripes?
That was in the Stars and Stripes, sure. I don't know if I can get that thing from the archives.
So you were a soccer star, and what division was this?
For a 7th division.
You were in the 7th division?
Yes.
So when you first got to Korea, you weren't that long doing guard duty before you started playing soccer?
No, not that much. Right away got duty.
And then how long did you do that before you left for soccer?
Oh, well, actually, we got there like in October, end of October, then following spring.
October of 1962?
Too. Then 63, I stopped playing soccer.
And then how long did you play soccer?
All 6 months. All 6 months. Then after that, I became a CO's driver and a telephone, radio operator. So I don't have to pull guard duty no more,
And as
which was great.
a CO driver, what did you do? Were you still,
Drive him around, drive the company commander around.
but you were still right on the border?
Yes, oh sure. I never left the border. I never left the border for 13 months, 14 months almost.
Well, when you played your soccer games, where would you play?
Then we go all over this country, all over Korea.
Oh.
Anyway, they had the teams, the manager already made the schedule, and we went all over the country.
Would you play against just other American troops or against?
We played American troops, then we played a 2nd division, and we beat the 2nd division.
And those were Americans?
No,
They were Koreans?
Koreans. Oh, yeah. No, I was a big shot here as a soccer player.
And after driving the CO, you were a radio operator?
Radio operator. But then I don't like that job because when we went out to the field, you have to be up 24 hours a day. You can, no sleep, no nothing. So then General Murdoch took me off of it.
How long were you a radio operator?
Oh, about 3 months, 4 months, something like that.
Did you see combat?
No, but we captured 42 North Koreans.
How did you do that?
We was out field maneuvers with blank ammunition. Believe it or not, they didn't know. They had weapons, but we had no live ammunition.
The whole time you were there, you didn't have live ammo?
Well, unless you're on guard duty. Or if you go out like a straight firing maneuvers. You're shooting at targets, you know, you're practicing targets. But when you go out just regular field maneuvers, so all you got is blank ammunition.
And you all knew you had blank ammunition? And how,
And we knew it, but they didn't know it.
so
Thank
what
God.
happened? How did you find these Koreans?
So the thing is this, we had South Korean troops attached to us. And they knew it, we would never know the difference.
Oh.
They knew it, but we didn't know it.
So the South Korean,
They were pinpointed out.
those were North Koreans. Where were they? Were they hiding or in the open?
Yeah, they was coming across like spying. Sure.
So what did you do to capture them?
Well, what did we do? We brought them in, and what they did, whatever, who knows? They took him back somewhere to interrogate him, I assume. I don't think they just let him go. I'm sure they interrogate them and then probably let him back again, because what damage they going to do there? Not much. I don't know about now, what's the score over there, because It's getting to be hot again. See, a lot of people never understood. The war was never over in Korea. The war is still on. This is what I was trying to tell Congressman Larson. The war is not over. See, I had trouble to get in here because they don't recognize it as a war. So I came here as a Vietnam veteran, Vietnam era veteran.
Did you serve in Vietnam?
No, but a Vietnam era veteran.
And that allows you to enter
To enter over here, right?
Korea.
Which is wrong.
The Korean War veterans are not considered war veterans, so they're not allowed to come into the...
When you have the original fighting going on, yes, they recognize it. Other than that, right now the war is not over. This is the longest armistice in history. Okay? The longest ceasefire, but the barrel line is still there. We get the foxholes, we get, you name it, you get everything right there. You get your guns, you name it. It's on the line. So don't let nobody kid you. The war is not over. Once in a while, when I was there, once in a while, I still have shootings. It's not a joke. Matter of fact, you remember when Khrushchev trying to bring the missiles over? Well, okay. I was one of the 13 people that stayed in a base, stayed back in a base, to blow up the base in case something happens.
Where was the base?
Right on the North Korean border.
That same base that you were located?
Correct.
They left 13 of you there?
13 of us to blow up the base in case and we have an APC to catch up with the troops. Right?
Were there any casualties in your unit?
Yeah,
in the
of
time
course.
you were there?
Of course. And a couple of guys that I know, they brought back in the body bags. Matter of fact, one guy from with my barracks. Yeah, from my company, I'm talking.
Right.
Not from a battalion. A battalion, I'm not sure how many, but my company,
What
two of them
company
is
were you in?
Company E.
And would they be shot while they were on guard duty?
Right. See, I had an incident before. It was a funny thing because what happened every night, every single night they robbed the ammunition dump. So finally I got on duty. And what happened, the ammunition dump looked like this room square. It's fenced in, but the fence was like 5, 6 feet high. And it was a raggedy fence. So they went through a fence like nothing.
So the
And in the middle of,
would come at night and rob it?
who knows, North Koreans, South Koreans, it must be North Koreans because it was right on the border. We could see the troops training on the other side of the border. But what happened is this, at 2 o'clock in the morning, yeah, in the middle of the ammo dump, which is like maybe 100 yards by 100 yards. In the middle of it, you have a big pile of dirt, like maybe 8 feet high. You have to climb on top of that. And look, you're a silhouette. You are a target. So, I hear that, actually you're not supposed to shoot, which is a bad policy for the Americans. And I explain why, and I'm sure you agree with me. When you're in guard duty, you're a guard, okay? You're guarding that place. There's nobody can come in there. Absolutely, could be a 5-star general. You have to identify himself and so on before you let him on your post. That's the rules. Now, they say, well, you have to holler 3 times. Who goes there? Halt, I will fire. In English. And 3 times Chongji Sonda in Korean. At 6 times you're hollering. How many bullets can you how many times they can shoot you? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
What a bad policy that is? And I hope to God that they change that thing because that's how we lose in wars. And we had another thing too. You will not fire until you fire upon. Okay? Now that's, you take it from a horse's mouth. Okay? Because I went through it. So what happened that night, 2 o'clock in the morning, I go on guard duty. And in Korea, they had no trees at the time. Now they have, evidently, they have big trees now. But they have bushes like 4 or 5 feet high, like shrubs. And I hear noise. At 2:30 in the morning, you know, I hear some noise. So I have live ammunition in 20 rounds in a M14 in a clip, and 20 rounds over here, and 20 rounds over here, like 60 rounds. I just take, brrr. Then who comes out is a new lieutenant that he just got to Korea. So he knows all the laws, you know. He said, I can have you court-martialed. I said, guess what? I'll kill you right here. I said, you know this law? I said, you're going to holler 6 times in English and Korean, whole time will fight, who goes in, all that crap? He said, you know something, you're right. You're right. He said, I never realized that. Then I showed him the silhouette. I am up on top of like an idiot. I said, you know what, I will never go up to you again if I ever pull guard duty over here. He said, I agree with you. He said, I don't want to go home in a body bag either. I said, well, if you want to be dead as a doornail, I said, why don't you go up there and don't fire until they fire up when you fire upon.
Well, by then you're dead.
How many times? I mean, you know, they can shoot you 100 times before you know, forget it. I learned that back home when I was a kid. They teach us. You shoot first and you ask questions later when you're in that kind of a position. And in a revolution, we don't do the whole time we'll fire either. No, no, no. You don't do that. Because you'll be dead for a long time, you know, not just for 10 seconds.
Do you think your background in Hungary and fighting in the revolution helped you?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was one of the best training ever. Better than I ever get from the American Army, all day long. No question about it.
Were you able to pass any of that training on to the younger guys in your unit?
I did try. I did. You got to think. And you know, the funny thing is common sense. Common sense is the one. If somebody's young, they have no common. They have no idea. They left the common sense at home. When they was giving common sense out, they never showed up. But absolutely a revolution and a training in a trade school. They train us like a regular army. Of course it helped me. I mean, it's, you know, any little training, any little experience will help you. It's there for a reason.
Were any of the soldiers in your unit ever captured?
Not captured, but one guy went over the border. One nut.
Intentionally or by
Intentionally.
Why did he do that?
I think he was mentally disturbed. I really do.
What happened to him?
Because he wanted to go over the border, I don't know how many times. I told him how many times. What's the matter? I think his name was Butler or something from Georgia. One of these farm boys. And I don't think he was all there. I really don't. I mean, I said, look, I came from a communist country. You cannot buy a loaf of bread unless you stand in a line. You cannot even listen to like a Radio Free Europe you're supposed to listen to. They put you in jail. I mean, that's no joke. I lived under that condition. That's why I'm here. And the reason I'm here is because my upstairs, the people living upstairs, there was a communist. Okay? And my father was in a prisoner of war camp for 4.5 years, you know? And we didn't get along too good. And of course, when the Russians came the second time, I had to leave. I mean, when they took over again, I mean, you know, you just couldn't fight no more with sticks and stones and bottles of gasoline against tanks. But we killed a lot of people. Killed about 35,000 Russians, which was a lot, with hardly nothing in your hands, you know. The hand grenades once in a while you get a hold of it. But anyway, that's how I came here. And I try to explain to this guy here, But he went over the border. But they threw him back.
They did.
They threw him back.
They didn't want him either.
They get rid of him. They give him a Section 8 or something, whatever. They said the guy just gone out of there. So I didn't know whatever happened to him. But it's quite a little story here.
Yeah. How old were you when you came to the United States?
17.
How did you get from Hungary to the United States?
Now, first I walked to Austria, 7 days and nights. From Hungary to Austria, to Vienna.
By yourself or with your whole family or with?
Actually, I couldn't get to my family. There's no way I could get to my family because of the people upstairs. I went by my house about a mile and a half, and I couldn't get home because it was Russian tanks was all around the area, so there's no way I could get home. So you just walk in. About a third day, about a second or third day, I saw a school kid going home. I said, hey, I'm going to talk to you for a second. He said, what is it, sir? I said, do you have a map in your, what do you call it, in your books? I said, yeah. He said, yeah. I said, give me the western side of the country. I ripped the map in half. I gave him back the other half. And I just marked myself a road, went to Vienna. And when I got to the border, I ran into a bunch of people. Just the whole bunch. I was the youngest one, yeah, probably. But probably the smartest one, too. Because I was the one who climbed up at the Austrian border into the, what's the name, in a tower, where the guards used to use. And I know exactly where I was. It was quite a trip. Should write a book about it years ago, but young and foolish, you know.
Yeah.
And now the story probably dead anyway.
No, it's not dead. History's never dead.
Well, it's like personal history. There's nothing to, you know.
Well, that's just as interesting.
Part history, but part, you know, most of it is personal history. So I don't know.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
I didn't want no medals. I don't want any medals. I served my country, which is this one right here. But they gave me a tough time when I get my citizenship paper. Trying to get my, actually when I get shipped back to States, I went to Fort Hood, Texas.
When you came back from?
Came back from Korea, yes.
Were you already a citizen?
No. So I went to San Antonio, Texas, to the immigration, fill out the papers. And this was back in 1963, somewhere around here. And it was a 63 or 64, beginning of 64. And finally I got my citizenship papers in 1968. They fooled around with me for so long because I was a radio operator.
Why would that make a difference?
That does make a difference. I could send messages across the border. That does make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does make sense. But like I said to them, I said, listen, you guys are a bunch of idiots because I come over here, I serve gladly, and you give me a tough time because of stupid radio operator. I said, I would fight against Hungary. At the it's still a communist control at the time, you know.
Right.
Now it is a free country, thank God. But you know, I could see the point in a way, because a lot of people came over. They sent back like 1,400 Hungarians. That was bad news. Oh yeah, you know, breaking into stores and holding up people and killing people and things like, you know, you just don't do that. You just don't do that.
Family in the United States?
No, I don't have any. I have distant relatives.
So when you went to Korea, there was nobody in the United States that you kept in touch with?
No, except for my girlfriend.
And she was here in the United States?
Yes. She was in Hartford.
And how did you keep in touch?
Writing letters back and forth, that's all.
What was the food like in the service?
Oh, great. We had great food. I mean, just, you name it, we had it. How do you like your eggs in the morning? Really, I mean, how much bacon you want, how much this you want, what do you want? You want pancakes, you want French toast? Oh, we had great cooks. Even out in the field. We had sea rations, but we hardly ever used it. We hardly ever used sea rations. 90% of the time we had the field mess. We ate there like kings, really. Good food. I enjoy the food.
Did you have access to all the supplies you needed otherwise? Was there anything that you wanted?
Well, not all, I don't think. What do you mean by all? Like what?
Like the standard of living over there? Did you have,
Oh, for what we were requiring, sure. Sure, for what we was requiring, sure. Other than that, I mean, you know, you go out shopping just for yourself, but we didn't have that much money, really. We had like $82 a month. Well, it was big money there. At that time, it was big money. There's a lot more, $2 for a busboy per month. I gave him like 10, but I gave a lot of clothes. And I don't have to shine nothing, no boots, no nothing. They shine it for you every day. The underwear is all nice and neat, folded in your locker, in your foot locker, and so on. So really, I had a good time over there.
did you do anything special for good luck?
For good luck? Like,
Some guys have rabbit foots or something.
oh, no, I don't believe in that thing. No, you make your own luck. I don't, I'm not superstitious, really.
How did people entertain themselves? What did you do for entertainment in your off time?
I was one of the
Besides
lucky
playing
ones.
soccer?
I was one of the lucky ones, really. Because I played soccer. We had a couple of Thailand players. Well, we had 9 Hungarians, okay, on a base. Actually, the one played. We had like 13 of Hungarians, but the other few did not play. No, that was not.
Hungarians must be good soccer
Oh,
players.
they was excellent players. Matter of fact, I have a picture right here with my daughter. And a couple of years ago, we was in New Jersey. I was friends with the Hungarian national team back in the 50s. They trained right next to my house. And the last 4 survivors was in Woodbridge, New Jersey, a couple of years ago. So we have some pictures with them. It's right here if you want to see them.
I would love to later.
No, sure. It's great.
So that soccer play.
But what I was going to say, because of the Thailand people there, I get good friends with a couple of majors, Thailand majors. And they took me to places in the area they were stationed that was off limits to U.S. personnel. So I had, skies was a limit. So I said, I lived like a king. Cost me nothing. My money was no good. I mean, they just treated me like gold.
Wow. So
I mean, like a newspaper was writing like crazy about me. Matter of fact, I have a friend of mine in South Windsor. He was in a service for in Korea at the same time I was there. He's also a Hungarian guy. He was in Seoul, Korea. And he used to read in newspapers. But I threw all the clippings in the ocean when I was coming home. Pictures and all.
why did you do that?
Dumb, dumb, dumb. And dumb again.
You didn't save anything?
Nothing. Nothing that brings back as a memory or nothing. Dumb, dumb, dumb.
What were some of the places?
Right now, it would be nice to show my kids that, look, this is what your father did in Korea, or while I was in the service, which is a lot of nice things, really nice things.
Were a lot of the guys throwing their stuff overboard?
Yes. Yes. And dumb. I mean, I cannot explain it any better than that.
Well, I have to agree with you.
I mean, oh, I'm sure you do. Many other people would, because what a nice memory that is now. You know, after that many years, to show it to my kids or something, or even friends.
Yeah.
I have a newspaper clipping over here, which was a friend of mine gave it to me. My daughter held in 1996, I believe. She held a thing that the Hungarian Revolution. That was a big shindig. It was like 500 people in the state capitol. Also, well, if you come, I'll show it to you. You get the proclamation from the governor.
Oh, yeah, I would love to see that.
And I also have the paper clip that was a nice picture from a Hartford Times. I don't know if you remember the Hartford Times.
Yes.
He said to me at that shindig there, he said, I saved this thing for many, many years. He said, now I'm going to have to give it to you. It's all inlaid in plastic. So it's really, really nice. I'll show it to you afterwards.
Okay, wonderful.
It's really, really, real nice. But I'm sorry now, I saw that how many times I would like to get the pictures back. I had a lot of
Any
pictures.
pictures of you?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Not even that service picture when you go in and they take it?
I had the service picture, and I saved some of the service pictures, but when I came back, they robbed my Foot Locker. They took everything. I mean, everything out of that. After I get discharged, in the apartment where I was renting in the south, in Pequannock, they stole everything out of there.
So you don't even have that?
Nothing. They stole my uniform, they stole everything.
That's terrible.
Yeah. My discharge paper, that was in there. I had to write in a, what do you call it, to get new discharge paper, DD-214.
Do you recall any particularly humorous or unusual events while you were in Korea?
Nothing unusual. Nothing unusual. You expect so many things. And by that time, there's nothing unusual for you. After you go through that many countries, it's really, it's nothing surprises you anymore. I mean, you just, like I said before, you do what the Romans do when you're in Rome.
What did you think of the officers or your fellow soldiers?
I always get along with everybody. I mean, strictly well, exceptionally well. My company commander, a nice guy. We had one guy, a lieutenant, was like a gun-ho type of guy, but kind of tamed him down a little bit too. Because when, you know, when they come to Korea, oh, they all want to be a big shots, you know. I said, wait, just take it easy, learn the situation, then you find out what's going on. I had a guy from Charlottesville, Virginia, a farm boy. I mean, this guy, I don't know how he did not make it. He was like any instrument you gave him, he played it professionally. And he sang. He was like 5'2", just barely made the service. And he used to sit out there like summertime, springtime. He sit out there behind the barracks and side of the hill, play the guitar, or play the banjo, or play the violin, or flute, anything you give him, piano, anything. And I used to carry him because he never liked guard duty. Anytime they have trouble, like a hot water furnace went out, they called me to fix it. So I took him with me. Poor guy, as a helper, you know. Yeah. Oh, he used to appreciate it so much. We went down to see him about 20 years ago. We went down to see him. He threw me a big party there in Charlottesville. I haven't seen him since. I talked to him on the phone a couple of times, but I haven't seen him since. I don't know. Roy Terry, T-E-R-R-Y.
Did you stay in touch with any of the other guys in your unit after the war?
Actually, no, except this one fella. He was the closest to me, really. He was a super nice guy, and all the guys that I hung around, I mean, served with, most of them way down south, somewhere in the Midwest, like some in like Cleveland. A couple of guys came from Cleveland. I never getting that. One guy came from New York. He was a Hungarian guy also. He was a company clerk. But he disappeared. I lost contact with him. But this guy here, I went to his house in Charlottesville, and wow, what a party he threw. He had his own band, played music all night long. I mean, we had a good time.
So he pursued his music after he got out of
He did, but I don't know why they didn't make it. I mean, this is a type of guy, if you look at him, he don't have to say nothing. You look at him, you have to laugh. The way he looked back at you, I mean, he was so funny that I don't know how nobody discovered the guy. I really don't know. I mean, he's so good. I mean, like, he put on shows, like, you know, at the club, the service club, play the piano, play the guitar, sing for troops.
So that was some entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. I used to go to Seoul to get my entertainment, go to dances. They had the service club over there, a real nice place. Ours was like a raggedy place.
How often did you get free time that you could go to Seoul?
Actually, I could go practically any time.
Because you were a soccer player?
Yes. I had it like, you know, I had it made. I had my Jeep. I had that 24-hour pass in my pocket. I could go anywhere, anytime. Trip tickets. I just made out a trip ticket and go wherever I want to go.
And you said you were in Korea for 13 months?
Yeah.
Do you recall the day your service ended?
I think it was April 10th, 64.
And you were in Korea then, or were you back in the
No, I was in Fort Hood, Texas.
When you came back from Korea, did you serve the rest of your time at Fort Hood?
Served with a very, 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 very good gentleman,
Who was that?
George Patton Jr.
Really?
You bet.
What did you do while you were at Fort Hood?
He was my battalion commander. I used to deliver his mail. I didn't do nothing but carrying troops out and bring him his mail. What a man.
Really?
God. He was a lieutenant colonel at the time. And I'll tell you what, I hate to say things, but I know this goes on record, but his father was killed purposely. That's God's honest truth.
And he knows that?
He knows that.
Why
He
would
told me to himself.
He did.
Because I sit down and talk to him like I talk to you many times. He had his father's picture about as big as a bulletin board, right behind his desk.
Did he say why they killed him?
Politics. It's all politics, believe it or not.
I'm sure they never found out exactly who.
But I know who. Can't say it.
Right.
The man is dead now anyway. The man is dead who killed him anyway. Who had him killed, I'm saying. And I'm sure if I would say his name, you know it real well.
Well, we'll talk when we turn the tape off.
Yeah.
So how long did you serve at Fort Hood before you were discharged?
About 5 months, 6 months almost.
And then after you got out of the service, did you come back to Connecticut?
Yes.
Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
go to work or did you go to school?
I went to work. I was already a master electrician before I went to the service.
Oh, before you went in the service.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Well, they were dumb not to use you as an electrician.
They never do. They never utilize the person's ability. They never do that. I don't know why. That's, might be some reverse psychology in it, which I don't know. But what is the psychology about that thing? I have no clue. I mean, I learned my trade. I was 17 when I came in here. I landed in New Jersey also, Camp Kimmel, New Jersey. I was shipped to Rochester, New York, and the snow was like 4 feet deep. I said, this is not the place for me. I mean, you know, just... So I had some relatives in Taunton, Massachusetts, distant, real, my father's second cousin, which was way distant, you know. And they found my address through my father because I was writing back home. And he gave them my address. My father wrote to these people. And they called me up. They took me down to Taunton, Massachusetts. Now, I had a good job because when I came here, I was a tailor. I was a tailor. It might sound funny to you, but, you know.
You made a really big switch in careers from...
No, I made a big career change, yes. But, see, you have to understand one thing. In a communist-controlled country, you're not going to do what you want to do. You're going to do what they tell you to be.
So they told you to be a tailor?
To be a tailor. I want to be an electrician back home or a mechanic. But they have no room for me because we was not in the Communist Party. Okay? My father won a Medal of Honor, and that was not a really good sign. Can't come in. Stop the thing. But anyway, you're not going to be what you want to be over there in a communist-controlled country. So when I came here, I finished a tailor. I became a tailor. And in Rochester, I made big money. Those days, I brought home $84 a week, which was like 2 months' pay. But I didn't stop for coffee break, I didn't stop for cigarette break and all this stuff. So when I come down over here, I don't make any money. So I had to look for something, you know, in June, or I think it was June, or May, they had I found a job over here for $12, $23 a week. $12 was my room per week. What I get, $11 left. How can you live on $11? My girlfriend's supported me. Other than that, that could have been, you know, long gone.
Can you still sew?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm sure. Well, not as good as those days, you know, but I still can, oh yeah. So anyway, this old man from a factory where I was working, silver company, pulled silver, and he said, what are you going to do for your vacation? I said, I don't know. I'm not doing nothing. He said, why don't you come down to Cape Cod with us for the weekend? I said, I don't know. I didn't want to go because, you know, I had no money. By the time I paid my stuff over there in Rochester, New York, bought clothes and shoes and all that stuff, because I had nothing when I came here. I had a little bag, the shaving equipment, that's all it was, and soap, toothbrush. But anyway, then we went down to Cape Cod, Falmouth, Mass. And his son-in-law was an electrical contractor. So he was talking to give me a job for 2 weeks, because the shop where I was working was closed for 2 weeks. So he said, he agreed, he said, I'll give you a job. Then when the 2 weeks was over, he asked me if I want to stay. Oh my God. I said, no, he said, you're going to be living with us, like part of the family. I said, oh my God. I mean, and I was living with them for 5.5 years. About 5 years or so.
Wow, and that's when
Imagine
you
I
learned the trade?
I was like a part of the family, yes. I grew up with the kids, practically. They held my first birthday party, 18th birthday party. So
when you came back to Korea, from Korea, and then after Fort Hood, you came back to Connecticut, in Hartford or Pequannock?
Hartford, actually Pequannock. That's where, because I had an apartment, I was sharing an apartment with one of the guys in West Hartford when I got drafted. But he moved, and he kind of was living with his girlfriend. So I looked for some kind of a room around. I couldn't find nothing good in Hartford. I found one in Pequannock. That's where they robbed my stuff.
And where did you work as an electrician?
I was working for Gartner Electric. It's an electrical contractor.
In Hartford?
Yes, in Hartford. Yeah, actually West Hartford. Then I worked for CNG Electric before I get drafted. So when I came back, then I worked for Stone Electric.
Did you join any veterans organizations after you got
No, I did not. I never joined anything.
the VFW or?
I want to join, but they always ask me for a DD-214 and
What's that?
discharge papers, and it was stolen from me, so I never could join anything. But now I could join because my daughter wrote in finally a good thing because I needed to come here.
Oh, so you,
I just had an open heart surgery in September.
this past September?
Yes. Oh yeah, they opened me up like you won't believe. Oh yeah, that's why I'm here, to recuperate.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yeah, oh sure, of course, it has to. It has to. Anybody with a little common sense would, think of this and that, of course.
Do you have any reunions?
No, I didn't. And like I say, this is only one guy I kept in touch, but even now I don't even know where he is anymore. Because they're trying to call him and phone was disconnected. I called information and there's no Roy Terry in Charlottesville.
Wow.
So I have no idea where to look for him. He could be dead, I don't know.
So after you lived in Pequannock, what did you do in your life after that? If you have a daughter, you must have gotten married.
Now I get married. I lost my head too.
Is this your saved girlfriend?
No. That girlfriend left it a week after I came back from a service. That was it. We broke up about a week after. Found out that she's kind of sweet on somebody else. I said, that's it. No, I get married to a nice girl. I get married to a nice girl, so really, even now we divorced, but we're still good friends.
And how many children did you have?
I have two, a boy and a girl. And I get married in 1965. Matter of fact, still get a little picture of a wedding. She's got the album, so.
How would you say your service and experiences affected your life?
Well, how should I say? It's kind of it's benefit you in a long way, in the long run, because you're dealing with people every day, especially in my trade. You learn how to deal with people. It's the number one thing. So it's helped you. It does help you.
And are you retired now?
Not yet. Not yet.
You're still doing electrical work?
I'm doing it in the hospital right now, believe it or not. Well, not like out in the field, It's a little bit lighter work I'm doing right now. I'm testing out the electrical beds, all the electrical equipment, pumps and so on, motors.
You're testing them out electrically? When you told me that before, I thought you were I didn't know you were an electrician. I thought you were testing them out.
No. Matter of fact, before I get my heart attack, my operation is electrical contractor. I've been a master electrician since before I get drafted.
You must be good at it.
I am one of the best one in Connecticut, no question about it.
Have you trained anybody else?
Oh, many of them. They get many of them who get a license, master license.
Well, when do you plan on retiring?
So I don't know. I really don't know yet.
Do you like your work?
Oh, I love my job. I mean, just the tougher the better. I learned with a very good man. And
This is the man up at the Cape?
right, and he's the guy that, I'll tell you what, the best electrician I ever known. And no question about it. No question about it.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, but he's got Parkinson's. I just saw him about a year ago.
So you still stay in touch?
Oh, sure. I'm still part of the family. I go down there like I'm going home. Even now, I mean, you know, after so many years. The kids are just like I'm part of the family.
Now, when you recuperate from your surgery, where will you go?
I'd like to go back out in the field again. Get my apartment.
When you live in your apartment, where is that?
I was living in East Hartford. Then I was moving to New Britain. During the moving, I had the heart attack. Right in the middle of moving.
Did you know it was a heart attack?
No, I didn't know that. My ex-wife was over there, thank God, helping me packing. And me and a friend of mine took Cologne to the new apartment. And it was like 10 o'clock at night. I was run off the road. I started sweating from the inside. It was cold. I turned the air conditioner on. I was still sweating heavily. I felt a little pain over here. I figured, you know, I have a 32-inch TV I carried. And I had a cabinet like 300 pounds. Pushing it, shoving it, and everything else, you know. I figured, you know, that'll kind of pull a muscle. Then I felt a tingling in my left arm. It's like blowing bubbles in the vein. I never dawned on me, you know, what's going on. So I went back home. I got there, my ex-wife said, "Why don't you sit down?" I said, "We only got one chair. Why do you want to sit down?" So why don't you sit down? You look, it's 10 o'clock at night. We've been working since 6 o'clock in the morning. So why don't you sit down and get one chair? She said, "You look like you saw a ghost. You're pure white." Then she wiped my forehead. I said, "Well, give me the towel. I got to wipe my back and my neck, too." And she said, "Oh, my God." Next thing I know, she's on the phone. She said, "Do you have any chest pain?" I said, "Well, I got, you know," I'm telling her exactly like I told you. She's on the phone with 911. About a minute later, 8 guys is breaking through a door. I mean, coming through a door. And one girl. They put the wires on me. The guy said, "You having a heart attack?" I said, "You joking?" He said, "I wouldn't joke about that." They threw me in the ambulance into the hospital. Thank God it was a mild heart attack, not a stroke or something.
Right. And then they opened you up on
Then they, and I got lucky. And I mean, I get absolute pure luck. The best doctor in the world does the heart surgery. Dr. Takata. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
What hospital?
Hartford Hospital. I met a couple doctors from Pakistan. They come here to learn. They said, everybody knows about Takata. Everybody wants to be Takata. They know him all over the world. He teach in Japan. He teach in China. When I was in the hospital, out of 12 people at the ward, there were names there. Out of 12 people, he done 8. so I was one of the lucky ones. Even thank God. I've been lucky in many ways. I've been blessed in many ways. When I went home to visit, and my father said, "You know, you could live on the top of the, what's it in the Arctics." I said, "Well, I don't want to live there," but I said, I've been all over the world practically. He said, he told me, he said, "You know, when you left," he said, "I felt bad." I said, I know that you're going to make it somewhere. You know, you're going to be okay. Thank God it was a good note from him.
Well, you've had quite a life, Nick.
I did. It's not over yet, thank God. Almost, but
No, you got a lot of good years left.
I shaved it close.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't covered in the interview so far?
I don't know. I had a nice family. I mean, I got a couple of nice kids. My daughter was state senator's aide for about 5-6 years, then working with the governor also. And now she's in the private sector. She got laid off on the last layoff, and the state layoff there. So, but she's a nice kid. My son is a professional golfer. He's down in Florida. He lives in Orlando. I'm all right. I'll do all right. I'll be here for a while to straighten myself. I'll get back on my feet again. I still don't know where half of my stuff is. Some stuff I put in storage. Some stuff at my ex-wife's house. And who knows where the rest of the stuff is. I have no idea.
Well, you'll find it.
No, I mean, I'll find it sooner or later. It's only material things.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much for sharing your experience and your life story with me.
Nice, you're more than welcome.